I know we do social distancing, but this is really absurd. But we're glad you're here. Socially distanced, but you're here. My name is Larry Marsh, and I've been with Hawthorne Players a long time. But we're very happy to welcome you here. We're very happy to have Mayor Lowry here with us. And and the North County Chamber of Commerce staff. We appreciate your being here and making this possible. As I said, I've been with Hawthorne for a long time. 1981, on this stage, made my debut and farewell performance in one evening. But I've been much happier to be a director and designer. We're here to do the ribbon cutting to introduce our 75th season. 75 years, you know? 75 years of community theater. And community is a term that Hawthorne Players takes very, very seriously from the very beginning. And while we draw our actors and our audiences from throughout the metropolitan area, our community, our North County community, has been our base from the very beginning. Now, we wandered around a bit, as you'll see as we look through our history. Those of you who are better at math than I am probably noticed that our 75th season, but there are 77 years there. So we lost 2 years, 2 seasons. One in 2014 when they were doing wonderful renovations for this theater, making it even a better place than it was before. And then, of course, we were all rudely interrupted by COVID. And we canceled that season entirely. But we're back for our 75th. Our beginnings are truly humble. They began as a play, Hobgoblin House, a very forgettable play. But it was the first thing that this group did at the PTA at Central School in Ferguson. And they thought, well, it'd be fun to put on a play. And whoa, they thought it would be fun to put on a play. You can hear me, I trust. Okay. And got together, got a group, and put on the show in December of 1945. And they apparently loved it. The audiences loved it. And so they decided, well, you know, we could do this. We could create perhaps a legitimate theater, sort of. And here you see they created, in that very house, by the way, it still stands. You can drive by it to see where they did the original, drew up the Constitution, and decided to call themselves the Hawthorne Players. We have no idea why. But they were going to do a full-fledged drama society, as they called it. First show after Hobgoblin House then was A Pair of Sixes, another memorable play which you've never heard of yet again. It's actually pretty funny. I've got the original script. And that was followed by, at the Vogt Junior High, by The Walrus and the Carpenter. Now, the proceeds from those 2 shows, I think this is pretty amazing. Both shows got together, let me see if $543. That doesn't sound like much, but if you do the calculations, it's $7,000 today. And this little community theater group gave that $7,000, we'll say it in modern terms, to the fund to build a new swimming pool at January Wabash Park in Ferguson. Yeah, giving to the community from the very beginning. The 50s, and I've spent a lot of time doing the history of this, of Hawthorne, and I was a history teacher at McClure and McClure North High School for 35 years, so indulge me as we go through a bit of this history of Hawthorne Players. But most of the 50s are kind of vague for us. We know they continue to do shows, most of them to benefit schools, which is great. I'm glad they did that, so a lot of PTAs did it. 1958, we do have the reference to their fine production of Father's Been to Mars. I don't imagine you'll ever see that show again. Now, the 60s is where we began to see a lot of history. It's a new decade, and we had a new group of actors. It was a remarkably talented group of actors and designers, directors, and they decided that they were going to really transform what Hawthorne was. And the very first show they did was Agatha Christie's, well, they got serious. They got very serious, in fact, and they decided that they would do shows like Agatha Christie's Witness for the Prosecution. That was presented the first time at a new auditorium at Country Day School, by the way. And then they did another performance of it at Airport School in Berkeley, in what was then the Berkeley School District. And one of the other shows in those early years, if this looks familiar, two houses, was Picnic. And that was the great William Inge play that, by the way, you can see and hope you are there this weekend because it's going to be a great production. And we'd love to have an audience for a more recent production of Picnic than this one. Well, this group thought, boy, I think they thought they were really good. Now, the good news is they were really good, but they decided that they needed to award themselves for being really, really good. And so in 1961, they had the first Hawthorne banquet and at the press club in the city, and gave awards for best direction, best set, best acting, so on and so forth. And the best show that year was Picnic. They do dress up nice, though, don't they? So as we move into the 60s, you begin to see that the company did very challenging works, several by America's most famous and respected playwrights, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, Edward Albee. And Hawthorne decided rather quickly that they needed venues other than school gymnasiums. Nothing wrong with school gymnasiums, but they're not the best place in the world to see theater. And as it turns out, the only things in North County at that time that even approximated real theaters were in shopping malls. And so we began our journey through the shopping malls of North County. So off Hawthorne went, first to the air-conditioned new auditorium at Northland Shopping Center, at this famous bar shopping center. And there we presented Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. Other shows produced there were Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Streetcar Named Desire. Then after several years, Hawthorne turned to yet another mall, and this time at River Roads in Jennings. First show there was a thriller, A Deadly Game, and that was followed by Williams' The Night of the Iguana and Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Things did lighten up at least a little bit at River Roads with Hawthorne's first musical when they did A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. But then it was back to Northland for the first community theater production of Eugene Ionesco's absurdist play, Rhinoceros. Believe me, it's a long way from Father's Been to Mars. And during all this time, by the way, the Ferguson roots were really important in the beginning, particularly what became January Wabash Park and the club pavilion there. Certainly was the first place I remember going to, and several of these actors also did their first auditions at least, or came to the one-acts, because all the way through this, Hawthorne did free one-acts, or at least asking for donations, at the clubhouse at January Wabash Park. It was an important gift to that community at the time, very, very important. And we even got into the movie business. I know, that may surprise you. This still exists on reels in my basement, by the way. It was a short experimental film by Dick Tino, who you see there on the right. And it was a funny film, an interesting film, and it had its debut in January Wabash Park, again, to help raise money for various organizations in the city of Ferguson. But Hawthorne's nomadic life took another turn, and it was an important one. And that is because Famous Bar opened up an auditorium on the ground floor of the Tower building at Northwest Plaza. I was just talking to Tina the other day about that, and she said they had to actually, yes, it was an auditorium, but they had to basically build a stage in it. But at least it was at Northland, and the first show there was Philadelphia Story, and that was the first musical was then Roar the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd, and that was followed in 1972 by a multimedia production of Little Me, which you see there on the right. It was a good space, and all things were going really well until December of that year, of 1972, a fire destroyed the newspaper plant of the St. Charles Daily Banner News. Now, this is where Hawthorne maintained a warehouse, and 27 years of accumulated sets and props and costumes, lighting equipment were destroyed in one evening. All was gone. Everything was gone. That could have been the end of it all. We did bounce back thanks to the generosity of other theater companies. I think you would find that that's very often what groups do. I remember, come to think of it, on this very set, McClure North had put its set up, and the district folks came in thinking that the show was over during the midweek and destroyed all of it, took it all down. And Hawthorne players and Alpha players and other groups pitched in and helped in just 2 or 3 days build the set so McClure North could continue and have its musical. So, but the great news was that we found a new home. Our wanderings ended. We found our permanent home, and it was in this theater, on this lovely stage, this lovely auditorium, which was then, and I frankly still think is, the best civic theater in the area. I really do. I honestly mean that. Tickets, by the way, were $2 for adults and $1 for students. So, yikes, how did they do it? The shows that were produced there were just some really wonderful, and this expansive stage opened up all kind of new possibilities. Hawthorne made the most of it. We moved into the 80s then, and we produced shows that garnered high praise from our audiences and critics alike. Season ticket base grew steadily. Some of these shows, some of the people in here were in those shows and value them highly. And of course, we can't show everything. This is just to give us a glimpse. By the way, where you can see everything is at hawthorneplayers.com. And click on that and click on galleries and find the entire history of show after show after show all the way through. It's worth looking at even if you've never been in a show. I think it gives you an idea of just what a community theater can do over the years. Several of these shows, of course, I've got fond memories of HMS Pinafore, especially. That was one that I designed and directed, and with the help of a lot of people in this group, and also then with the high school students from McClure North who were in the pit orchestra, who came and helped build that set. So, and we built some mighty big ones. In the 1990s, we continued to present classic American plays and musicals. And I see some of our folks on this one right here, by the way. Yeah, those were great shows, wonderful shows. In 1999, we produced a show in here, Bittersweet. It's Noel Coward. It's another show that no one does and should, because it's just beautiful music and a beautiful story. A new group had been formed in St. Louis called Arts for Life. And the idea was to, first of all, promote the arts in the St. Louis area, particularly musicals. It was directed for musical theaters in the beginning. And they decided that they wanted to present awards for what were the best performances, best shows in the entire metropolitan area of St. Louis. And I'm happy to say that Bittersweet received the first award for best show for all the shows in the St. Louis area. Highly deserved, too, I think, for the people who were in it. And on it went. And Inspector Calls, 1776, was a great show. Shows that were very serious. It's still serious, but we balanced this also with the lighthearted comedies. Arcadia, for example, is a case in point. Spoon River Anthology, Ryan Cooper there, being Ryan Cooper, who could not like that. And then we moved on farther. By the way, that Stepping Out, or that Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, you can see in our lobby display out there. So I would have you take a look at the lovely new display we put up for the 75th season with costumes and pieces from some of the very shows that have been on the screen here. I think you'll enjoy that. Stepping Out, great tap dancing, Cole Porter songs, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and this all in our own backyard. You know, I think that's the significant part of this. Just a few more of those. Well, the producers got some of the best reviews I've ever seen for community theater. It was just terrific, and it was right here on this stage. Pardon me while I find in my notes something I really wanted to mention. There it is on the other page. Because this is significant. I think you can see it through these particular pictures. And what I wanted to mention was that we did produce these series of comedies and dramas and cherished classics, but we also embraced a world of diversity and variety as we sought to both entertain and to enlighten, inform, and sometimes, frankly, to challenge both audiences and performers to look at the world anew. That's an important mission for any theatrical group, and that's important for the arts in general. And I'm happy to see that the arts are still very much alive in this community. So, look, there are some more of these. And some of you probably saw these shows, but Raisin in the Sun, what a wonderful show that was. And of course, a lighthearted comedy with Once Upon a Mattress and Nonsense. How could you not leave the theater laughing with that? I'm Not Rappaport is also a great show. And so we took a break. We were not able to do the season as scheduled, but we were able to come back and at least do one of the shows that we intended at that time, and that was The Marvelous Wonderettes in November of 2021. And it was a great performance. And I hope that some of you saw it and some of you were in it. Before I mention this, let me say that while we were on hiatus and while we were all in our homes, the Civic Center staff here at this theater were very, very busy. There are some wonderful changes. Some of them you see, obviously, such as the new lobby. That's great. New carpeting, new flooring. What you don't see, but what you will realize when you see the upcoming shows is a wonderful new technology. Oh, that screen is in itself new. And that's so great to have. And there are terrific plans. So when you come back and see other shows, you're going to see, I think we've done wonderful shows before with lighting and sets. It's going to be another step up. So do make sure you come back for those. One last thing about community, and that is our scholarship program. In 1988, we produced the first Best of Hawthorne. And you see some folks here that were actively involved in that. And it was just a wonderful show. We did a couple of those, which were variety shows. And then the decision was made to create a new scholarship program. And so in 1992, we created the Ducky Scholarship Program, named after a veteran Hawthorne actress and director, Ducky. And since that time, we have presented scholarships to students active in the performing arts in North County. Over 140 students have received these scholarships, and we've given almost $64,000 giving back to the community. And there are some of the winners from 2020, whom we could not bring together as usual, but they did selfies and sent them to us because we were still all under wraps at that time, for sure. I'd also mention that we did 4 productions of The Christmas Carol, and that money also went to that scholarship program. And we have Scrooge sitting right over there, not looking very Scrooge-like right now. And I told you we were looking for, we always seem to be searching for other venues. Well, we found an unusual one. We decided to do theater in a cemetery, and that was with Voices of Valhalla. And it was wildly successful, more than we possibly could have imagined, and we finished our 11th and our last season. But who knows, it might find life again somehow. Just, stay tuned. Well, I think it's time that we hear from some of these folks who are sitting here on the stage as they tell about their own experiences with Hawthorne players. So I'd like to introduce, I think, Lynn, are you coming to first? I am. Great.
Hi, I'm Lynn Humphrey working. Hi. And I think, yep, that little cutie patootie there is me when I starred in Hawthorne's 1987 production of Most Happy Fella. And a St. Louis theater critic to this day says that is one of the best productions he has ever seen. So take that, Repertory Theater of St. Louis. Hawthorne, over the years, as you know, has been dedicated to producing some of the lovely and neglected productions of musicals, and one of them was the 1991 production of The Red Mill, which I was also in, and Most Happy Fella, and then another one that was a little more familiar, HMS Pinafore. So, I don't know if he's, I'm going to just stay there. Okay. Did he go? Aren't they cute? I know that guy. I really, truly did love doing Most Happy Fella, not only for the glorious music, but for singing with the full orchestra, and best part of all, I met my future husband in that show. Nothing wrong with that. Over the years, I have also shared my singing talents with Hawthorne in various events and concerts and promotions. But I think one thing most people don't know is that I have been around Hawthorne since I was 8 years old. And in K-Love years, that was about 20 years ago. But I remember from those pictures, I saw Ducky Demir. Ducky was my mother's best friend, hence the reason I was around it. Tim and Vera Naidoo, Dick and Billy Tino. Billy was my theater director in high school, and probably half the reason why I became a professional actress. But they were all such gloriously talented people who built this wonderful Hawthorne players. And now today, we have these incredibly strong, talented people carrying on the Hawthorne magic. And for those in the past and those of the present, I want to wish you a happy, happy 75th anniversary.
Thanks for coming. Hi, I'm Greg Working, and I'm here to share that the Hawthorne players, aside from the nostalgia, also present the classic musicals. In 2001, they presented you with South Pacific. On the left, I'm there portraying Emile de Becque. In 2007, they presented you with Man of La Mancha. And I was honored to portray Don Quixote, tilt at a few windmills, and pursue the impossible dream. There are some other big musicals that have been produced by the Hawthorne players, and they are 42nd Street, Oklahoma, Hairspray, High Society. This year, a chorus line will be what's presented. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Fugate, and I have performed in many Hawthorne productions over the years. As Lynn and Greg mentioned, we do all types of shows, including smaller, more intimate musicals such as Nonsense, Stephen Sondheim's Company, and The Marvelous Wonderettes. This is a picture of me when I starred in the Spitfire Grill in 2017, which is another of those smaller musicals. Not only do these shows give us an opportunity to perform and move our audiences, but we're lucky enough to create long-lasting friendships, such as those I made in 1999's Bittersweet.
That's a picture of me from Bittersweet, as Kathy just mentioned. And during that show, Kathy and I and 3 other women from the cast formed a singing group called the Jewel Tones, and we have sung together for more than 20 years. As Larry mentioned, well, let me say first, I'm Kay Love, and I've been in 25 Hawthorne productions. Yay! I started when I was 2. No, not really. But anyway, as Larry mentioned, the organization Arts for Life was created in, they started giving awards in 2000 for the shows that were produced in 1999. And Bittersweet took home 6 awards, including Best Leading Actress and Best Production. Hawthorne has won numerous Arts for Life awards since then. I've been lucky to win several also, and even luckier to meet my husband of 25 years on this very stage. Thank you.
I'm Gary Love, and I am that lucky husband. And the picture behind me is a production of Christmas Carol from 2007. I had a lot more hair then, although it's buried under that hat. A Christmas Carol was one of our fundraiser productions. The musicals always were very productive in terms of funds, and by donating those funds to the Ducky Scholarship Fund, we're allowed to provide scholarships, as Larry mentioned, to high school seniors who are active in the arts. We've been doing that now for more than 3 decades, and we are very proud that those students have gone on to be teachers and musicians and directors and technicians in so many other venues, and we're very proud of them too. I would also mention that among those shows will be this year's Best of Hawthorne, A Cowboy Christmas, and we hope to see you there.
Hello, I'm Colleen Hennigan, and I've been blessed to have been a part of all of the voices of Valhalla that Larry mentioned. Those are, yeah, thank you. As he stated, that was live theater done in the cemetery. And not only are those fundraisers for Hawthorne, but as an actor, it is just one of the places where you can really hone your skills. And actors we've just been blessed with tons of them throughout the years. And we've mentioned musicals so far, but the majority of our history were plays. And we still, to this day, do 1 to 2 non-musicals per season. Obviously, we're on the set for Picnic, which opens Friday, and you gotta come see it. Yes, you do. With that, we've done, oh gosh, a lot of the classics too, as Larry showed. Like on Golden Pond, a lot of the Tennessee Williams, and most any of Neil Simon's. As a matter of fact, this is me in 2011, Neil Simon's Lost in Yonkers. I'm old.
Hawthorne shows have received many awards over the years. Hawthorne's production of The Producers was nominated for 11 AFL awards and won 8 of them. And the St. Louis Critics, when rating all shows that year, included our production of The Producers in their top 10. FYI, this included all shows in St. Louis, even those at the Fox and the Muni. So high praise indeed. Our people have also been recognized. Larry was honored with the AFL Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006. Joe Pauley received the award in 2019, and I, Dottie Bertolino, along with my husband Tony, received the award in 2014. That's our picture. Tony and I were another of those lucky couples to meet while working on a show. Tony was a genius in the sound booth. We've had performers and musicians from our shows go on to have successful careers in their performance area. Always our goal remains the same, to bring quality live theater to our audiences and hopefully make a difference in their lives, even if just for a short time. Apparently, we're doing a good job since we're celebrating our 75th season. And when you get performers on a stage, this is what happens.
The butcher, the baker, the grocer, the clerk are secretly unhappy men because the butcher, the baker, the grocer, the clerk get paid for what they do, but no applause. They secretly.
This is what happens in rehearsals. They
Welcome to
gladly
live
throw
theater.
their weary jobs goodbye for something that's theatrical and why.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing, everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere could you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bow. There's no people like show people, they smile when they are low. Even with the turkey that you know will fold, you may be stranded out in the cold. Still you wouldn't change it for a sack of gold. Let's go on with the show. Let's go on with the show.
Everyone, what a wonderful group, what a wonderfully talented group, and such good people too, by the way. Let's bring everyone on stage that is going to be doing the ribbon cutting. The mayor, if you would join us, and the Chamber of Commerce folks who will hold the ribbon for us, and we'll do some official cutting and having a picture too. So you all stay around as well for this and get in the picture, please.